Hey, this is Caddy from The Catty Life, and I'm here with my friend David, who has made us some amazing homemade gnocchi for dinner tonight. He's actually going to walk us through how to make homemade gnocchi. He's Italian, so this is really good. So,
okay.
David?
We have our dough. Our dough consists of, this is sweet potato gnocchi, so it consists of 2 sweet potatoes, 3 white potatoes, 2 eggs, and then flour for texture. So once you've got a batch done, I'm just going to take a little bit of it. Once it wants to. Yeah, as you can see, it's still very wet because it's sort of gummy. So you grab the powder.
Yeah.
Just sprinkle a bit of powder on the table or whatever you're going to be using. Usually people.
Is that enough?
Yeah. For now. And then what you do is you start to work it. Obviously you do it for bigger batches, more flour and stuff. Once you have it, usually once you've got it in sort of like a state like this where it's more workable and it's not really sticking to your hands anymore, you can start to roll it. Once you actually start to roll it, as you roll, you start to pull it outwards. So when you're pulling it outwards, it sort of, you're getting like a long string.
That's the technical term.
Yes, you want it to be long and stringy. Sometimes because there's too much powder on here, you see that's not spinning anymore, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just do it like this. The moisture from your hands will pick up the extra flour and take it off. Alright? So now you sort of have what you want. With a knife, and what I usually do is I use my fingers as a pointer, so every time I'll basically cut them off into sections like so.
So it's sort of like 1 inch.
1 inch blocks, yeah. Silent pause there. So then you have little nuggets. Some people will take the back of the fork and sort of work it like so. So you'll have it done like that.
You make that look so easy.
Or what I usually like to do is I'll just roll it one more time just so this way you wouldn't sort of get rid of any extra flour or stuff. And then you get to even push it a little bit harder sometimes into the dough as well. And that's it.
So, where did you learn how to make this? Did your mother teach you how to do
Yeah,
it?
my mom taught me how.
Yeah?
I used to make it with her when I was young.
And then what do you do? What do you do once these are ready?
Okay. Once these are ready, depending on when you gotta do it, usually for bigger parties I do it the day of. So this way people get the freshness of it.
Which is what we got.
You got the freshness of the batch.
That's excellent.
So what will end up happening is if you have the time, you make it the same day. And then, once the time is right, sometimes you just have to redo it a few times. But that's the thing, it's dough, it doesn't make a difference. It's like plasticine, you keep working with it. You know, you'll see this one here, it's still sticking to me. It's not that good, so you add a bit more flour. Then what you do, whenever you make a lot of pasta, you use as much water as you possibly can. And you throw these in. Once you throw them into a pot of boiling salted water, as soon as they rise, they're done. Once you've actually got it all done and the water's boiling and stuff, what you can do then is as they rise to the top, you just basically pull them out with like a tool like this, which allows the water to stay in. Throw that in, throw the gnocchis into the sauce.
What sauce? So what sauce do you usually make? Oh, does it matter what sauce?
Doesn't really matter what it makes.
Okay.
You can use a butter sauce, you can use, tonight we made a tomato sauce with pancetta, ground beef, and mushrooms. It all really depends on what you do. A lot of people make a cream sauce with gnocchis, and then once you do that, basically let it sit with the sauce for a while, and when you're ready to eat it, once it rises to the top, it's ready to eat.
See, that actually sounds really easy, but I'm sure it's not.
It's making this is the hardest part.
And so how did you make, because I know that you don't actually have all your equipment here with you, it's all in Canada, so how did you make that?
Boil the potatoes until they're soft.
Yeah.
Take them out. Once they're out for about 5 to 10 minutes, they're sort of cool to handle. Peel off all the skins, let them sit there, and then you mash them all together in the same pot. Once again, let it cool for a little bit, because what you're going to do then is add egg.
Yeah. When
you add the eggs, you want to make sure that the dough is not too hot that it's actually going to cook the egg. Otherwise, it's garbage. Add any extra spices that you want. Some people will basically add dried spices to the dough automatically, like dried basil, dried oregano. You always add your salt and pepper. And then once you get it into, like I said, a wet texture, that's when you can actually start adding more flour.
Mm-hmm.
The more flour you add, the more dense the gnocchi, the heavier it will feel when you eat it. For example, tonight you ate a plate that was that much.
I did.
You'll see it in a vlog. And it was a huge plate, but it was because I tried to keep the dough as wet as possible because it stays a lot lighter when you're eating it. The more flour you add, the more dense it gets. It becomes more like a bready dough, and it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And so the secret to that is the kneading.
Yes, work it. You can add. Everybody's has their own preference. As much flour as they want, little flour as they want. It's not an exact science. Play with it until you're happy with it.
Cool. Okay, well thanks for that, and I'm going to put the recipe on my blog as well, so if you check on, I suppose on the same blog that this video is going to be on, it'll be there, and if there's any questions, let me know, and I'll answer Master Chef, Thanks David, and all that flour.